Hey, Justin, I heard there's a punk show going on. You want to come? Yeah. All right. That's right this way.
Hey, Mark, you want to come to the punk show with me? Sure. Cool. Sarah, you want to come?
Hey, Jason, you want to come to the punk show?
Heather, want to go to the punk show?
Hey, yeah, don't leave out the preacher. Hey, y'all. Want to go to the punk rock show? Rise on up, embody your spirit. Let's sing our opening hymn.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I still believe we shall overcome someday.
Woo! Good job, y'all. That was fun, wasn't it? Well, that version was inspired by the American Celtic punk band, the Dropkick Murphys. We are really excited that you all decided to join us this morning for our first ever punk rock service. You're supposed to make some noise or something, y'all. Or something. We know that you are not all fans of punk rock, nor do we expect you to be when you leave here. But we do appreciate the chance to talk about something we are passionate about, to share with you how it informs our spiritual journey, and to give you all a chance to learn about others in your community. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a diverse and inclusive community. We welcome people from many different spiritual paths, and that doesn't just mean tolerating one another. It means learning from one another so that we can co-create a better and way more interesting world together, one centered in more truth and more love. So thank you again for joining us. My name is Heather, the heretic Norby, and I use the pronouns she, her. I am the spiritual life director for this congregation, and I'd like to introduce you to the band members today. On the bass, we have Mark the Machine Gatsky, pronouns he, him. And on the drums, we got Jumpin' Jason Beadlow, pronouns he, him. On the lead guitar is Majestic, Morgan Benningfield, she, her. On vocals today is the Jivin' Justin Neal, they, them. Woo! And we have Silly Sarah Mix, she, they. Killing it, Kelly Justice, you anywhere? She's not in the house today. Oh, man. All right, we shall miss her. So now, let us bless this sacred and joyful space by lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Today, as we light this chalice in honor of the music that keeps the fire of resistance burning, I will read the lyrics to one of my most favorite uplifting punk rock songs called Sound System by the band Operation Ivy. Steven's going to sing with me. Sound system going to bring me back up.
Yeah.
One thing that I can depend on. Sound system going to bring me back up.
Right.
One thing that I can depend on. Try to describe it to the limit of my ability. It's there for a second, then it's given up what it used to be. Contained in my music is somehow more than just sound. This inspiration coming and twisting things around. Because you always know that it's going to have to go. You always know that you'll be back in the cold. Point of departure sublimated in a song. Always coming and giving us hope for a second, then it's gone. But sound system gonna bring me back up.
Right.
One thing that I can depend on. Sound system gonna bring me back up.
Yeah.
One thing that I can depend on. Static pulse inside of music bringing us escape. It's always temporary, changing nothing in its wake. Just a second while we're leaving all these things behind. Just a second, but it's leaving just as much in my mind. To resist, despair, that second makes you see. To resist, despair, because you can't change everything. To resist, despair in this world is what it is, what it is, what it is to be free. Sound system gonna bring me back up.
Right.
One thing that I can depend on. Sound system gonna bring me back up.
Yeah.
One thing that I can depend on. So, if you would please rise in body or spirit, we will sing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the heart, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, don't you please come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí. Da corazón, no te dejes pasar. Onda volar, sube el mar, hasta lograr la justicia de la vida. Ayúdame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Thank you for your enthusiasm, Catherine. I would like to invite the young at heart forward. Children, you may come forward because we have a special message. Oh, you can too, Petra. Anyone young at heart. So, there's this very wise old punk rocker, and his name is Henry Rollins. Have you heard of him? Yeah. Well, this video, he calls himself Punkle Henry. Or Punkle Henry. And he has a inspirational message for you. This was recorded when Barack Obama was president. So I just want to let you know, because it needs some context, because he does mention that specific president and what he had to overcome. So, if we're ready, we can roll
Young
it.
person, you will find in your life that sometimes your great ambitions will be momentarily stymied, thwarted, marginalized by those who were perhaps luckier, come from money, where more doors opened, where college was a given. It was not a student loan. It was something that dad paid for. To where an ease and confidence in life was almost a birthright, where for you, it was a very hard climb. You cannot let these people make you feel that you have in any way been dwarfed or outclassed. You must really go for your own and realize how short life is. You got what you got, so you got to make the most of it. You really can't spend a whole lot of time worrying about his. You really have to go for your own. If you have an idea of what you want to do in your future, you must go at it with almost monastic obsession, be it music, the ballet, or just a basic degree. You have to go at it single-mindedly and let nothing get in your way. You're young. That's why you can survive on no sleep, top ramen noodles, and dental floss and still look good. All the people you admire, from Muhammad Ali to any politician, they work and work and work. Your president right now is a man who got where he is through very hard work and scholarships, mainly hard work and application and discipline. If these people can do it, why not you? We live in very interesting times. And as a young person going into a very turbulent and fragile economy that is going to get better, it's going to take a while. It is easy to lose your moral compass, your decency, your sense of civility, and your sense of community. Very easy. You know, things in traffic make you mad. People are getting a little desperate. They might not show their best elements to you. You must never lower yourself to being a person you don't like. There's no better time than now to have a moral and civic backbone, to have a moral and civic true north. This is a tremendous opportunity for you, a young person, to be heroic, to be morally upstanding, to be helpful, almost Boy Scout-like, presidential, to be altruistic. Weakness is what brings ignorance, cheapness, racism, homophobia, desperation, cruelty, brutality, all these things that will keep a society chained to the ground, one foot nailed to the floor. It's by being strong in the face of all of that, not lowering yourself to it. That's how you lead. That's how you liberate others and maintain freedom. You don't have to beat your chest, you don't have to wave a flag, but to maintain a high level of decency. And it sounds like I'm a cranky old man, like something you want to rebel against, but really think about what I'm saying. I think I'm right about this. When you look at what real desperation and ignorance looks like, when you have to run from it, like literally run from it, you don't want to be that. You want to be that which leads others out of that. And now, more than ever, is the time to show these great qualities, to extol these great qualities, and to embody these great qualities, which you have. Now it's time to magnify them, personify them, and inspire others with them. And there's never been a time where they're needed more than right now.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you know what you want to be like in the future? Yeah? Presley does. I love your shirt. What would you like to be in the future? You don't know. Are you going to lead the liberation? The revolution? That one. Calliope. Well, I hope you found his words inspiring. I know that Henry Rollins I saw him in college when he was doing a spoken word tour in the basement of our like social club, whatever the heck it was. Was pretty cool. And I find him to be really inspiration. And when I was younger, like I needed that. And I needed his music, right? He was in a band called Black Flag. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So it inspired me to like be in my power and trust myself, which is sometimes it's hard to do, right? There's a lot of trouble in the world, isn't there? Sometimes it feels like we're up against a lot, doesn't it? So we're gonna we've turned a Black Flag song called "Rise Above" into responsive reading. Actually, we're calling it a responsive yelling. So, rise on up, embody your spirit. Your part is going to be in the gold lettering, gold like our yellow t-shirts. And yeah, let's get this. We're going to get some power underneath this, okay? Jealous cowards who try to control.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
They distort what we say.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above. Try and stop what we do. We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
When they can't do it themselves,
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
We are
Tired of your abuse. Try to stop us. It's no use. Society's arms of control. We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
Think they're smart, can't think for themselves.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
Laugh at us behind their backs.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above. I find satisfaction in what they lack. We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above. We are tired of your abuse. Try to stop us, but it's no use.
We are born with a chance.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
I am gonna have my chance.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above.
We are born with a chance.
We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above. And I am gonna have my chance. We're gonna rise above. We're gonna rise above. We are tired of your abuse. Try to stop us. It's no use. Rise above. Rise above. Rise above. We're gonna rise above.
Yeah, what'd you think? Yeah. Dakota's like, yeah, okay. All right. You may go with Miss Melissa out to play, or you may, it's up to mom's discretion. Okay. Because warning, lyrics get explicit in punk rock songs.
Fire, yes. This is an important aspect. Fire and explicit language. You catch the drift. Yeah.
Call to community.
Community!
There's unity in community, so come to the annual meeting on May 7th after our worship service. Next week, we were supposed to have a guest speaker, but she needs to postpone. So let's explore something totally different. Rest as resistance. Bring your pillows and your blankets, and let's rest together. If you want more community and connection, for the love of God,
Read the newsletter!
thank you. Let us center ourselves now. In this month's theme of resistance, sit comfortably, take a few deep breaths with me. Why is resistance an important theme for Unitarian Universalists? We have 8 UU new principles, and they are very clearly centered in love and liberation. And so when the world pushes upon us the forces of hatred and oppression, we are called to resist. We are called by our principles to resist legislation that takes away bodily autonomy and violates the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We resist systems of power that cause inequity and human suffering. We resist dogmatic religion that imposes harmful beliefs. We resist unscientific and false claims to truth. We resist fascist governments that work to silence marginalized voices. We resist warmongering and violence. We resist destruction of our precious Mother Earth, sustainer of life. We resist systemic racism, sexism, and other oppressions that keep us from building diverse and inclusive communities. We resist the disconnected forces of evil, the greed, the gluttony, the hate that prevent us from discovering spiritual wholeness. We stand firmly in this resistance, rooting ourselves in the ground of love. But yet, we are often scrutinized at best and demonized at worst, because this Unitarian Universalist faith doesn't look like more traditional faiths. We are called heretics, Satanists, cultists, and other erroneous things like social clubs. People on the outside don't often have a very good sense of who we are. They are unaware of the depth of substance and the abundance of wisdom that lies underneath the surface impression of us just being a group of spiritual wanderers lost without faith. But we know who we are and why we are in this resistance. And you know what? Punk rock is a lot like that too. Unitarian Universalism and punk rock are similar. Both are an acquired taste. And on the surface, they don't seem like they have much to offer to some folks. But there is substance and abundance underneath. And so today, we center ourselves in a resistance deeply rooted in an anti-establishment, counter-cultural, do-it-yourself grassroots wisdom that nourishes our creative processes towards beloved community and spiritual wholeness. It's punk. It's Unitarian Universalism. Thank you. For those of you who have been around a long time, I want to extend a great deal of gratitude to you for opening up these pathways of resistance. We know that we stand on the shoulders of giants, the abolitionists, the suffragettes, the civil rights protesters, and to all of you hippies that brought Beatles music into our worship services. That was a pretty radical move back in the day, wasn't it? So, those of us up here this morning are greatly appreciative of the work you did before us to open up the doors of radical theology and experimentation that gives us the opportunity to express a part of our spirituality that keeps the fires of resistance burning within so we can do the good work of Unitarian Universalism. As our member Gail Rushford wrote on her Facebook post as she was helping to promote our worship service, I'm not a punk fan, and in parentheses, understatement. But being a practicing UU means keeping an open mind and seeking wisdom from many sources. I'm interested to see what I can learn from this service. If you're curious too, please join us. Thank you, Gal. And so here you are joining us today in the spirit of resistance and hopefully with an abundance of grace and curiosity too. Well, all this talk of abundance and sharing means it's time for the sharing of abundance. When I was in high school, I listened to a band called Descendants, one of my very favorites. But Descendants are not known for their super deep and intellectual lyrics. They mostly sang about girls and coffee and food and farting and living in a van. This is me being very vulnerable. Y'all don't know this part of me. They did live in a van, actually, for quite some time because they weren't really making any money as a punk rock band. Their lead singer, Milo Ackerman, did decide to go to college, though. He holds a PhD degree in biology from UC San Diego. He conducted postdoctoral research in molecular biology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and the University of Pennsylvania, formerly worked as a plant researcher at DuPont and as an adjunct professor at the University of Delaware. I guess van life can get a little rough on our aging bodies after a while, and it's nice to live in a suburban home, even if that means conforming a little bit to society's standards. I like my little suburban home here in Lakeland. I don't really want to live in a van anymore like I think I thought I used to when I was younger and more agile. So, as we pass the plates today, remember that you do all pay my salary, and I too am college educated, so please support my suburban home living because I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.
I want to be stereotyped, and I want to be classified. I want to be a clone. I want to suburban home, suburban home, suburban home, suburban home. I want to be masochistic. I want to be a statistic. I want to be alone. I want a suburban home, suburban home, suburban home, suburban home.
Thank you. Thank you. So, y'all sent me to seminary. And I became fascinated with this idea I found in my queer theology course called Irreverent Theology. In seminary, I've learned a lot about grace, radical love, care and respect, and reverence for life. But irreverent theology has been the thing that really lights me up. And I think it's because for so long I couldn't really identify the ways in which loud, rebellious, cynical, and sometimes dark and grungy or completely absurd music that I listened to fulfilled me spiritually. I couldn't explain how irreverence was a spiritual practice that actually revealed to me what I feel is worthy of reverence. Irreverence is a lack of respect for people or things that are generally taken seriously. Punk rock is known for its irreverent attitude towards authority. But given that authority in our culture is steeped in white supremacy, it's no wonder why this irreverence is liberating. And that's the thing right there. Irreverent theology is liberating. It breaks us out of cultural norms and belief systems that constrain us and keep us from expressing our authentic selves. The overculture shames us for parts of ourselves that are actually divine and quite all right. Irreverent theology is critical, it's questioning, it's interrogating. It turns things upside down and forces us to see the absurdity of what we are supposed to respect and the sacredness of what is hidden underneath, hidden often by force, oppression, and shame. But does irreverent theology actually set us on a path of irreverence? I would argue no. It's perceived as irreverent because it goes against the overculture. However, we do not embrace an irreverent theology rooted in hate that would actually lead us to hateful behavior. This irreverent theology that we are embracing today is rooted in love. It looks irreverent, sounds irreverent, because it embraces and reveres what the overculture tells us is indecent and shameful. Playing punk music in a worship service? Inappropriate. But as we sang at the beginning of the month, we are a gentle, angry people. Remember? We are a gentle, angry people, singing for our lives. So this irreverent kind of theology is a bit like that. We are singing for our lives. It's just definitely minus the gentle part. But you know, the world is tough, and sometimes you got to take the gentle part out of it, because sometimes gentle doesn't do the job. So in my endeavor to learn more about the spiritual aspects of irreverence, I came across a book called Virtual Faith, The Irreverent Spiritual Quest of Generation X. I was like, wow, somebody already wrote a book about it, and I kind of appreciate where he went with it. Here's part of the review. Tattoos, body piercing, retro, grunge, these are some of the stereotypical images of Gen X. Look a bit harder, and the images are troubling, even heretical. Crucifixes as fashion accessories, music videos with religious and sexual imagery, an unashamed juxtaposition, rave masses in which prayer and ecstatic experiences aren't quite what they used to be. In this profoundly original book, Tom Bodewin issues a provocative challenge. What if, instead of dismissing these expressions as heretical or blasphemous, we took them as serious expressions of a generation's search for a religion they can believe in? Bodewin himself, an unapologetic member of Generation X, explores fashion, music, videos, and cyberspace, and concludes that his generation has fashioned a theology radically different from, but no less potent or valid than that of their elders. And so today, through our punk rock worship service, we are exploring just one facet of one subculture's contribution to this potent and valid theology of not just Gen X, because that book was actually written 23 years ago when we were the young adults, but also now some millennials, and Gen Z too. And I can say that because my daughter is Gen Z and she's all over it. Today, we are bold. Despite what they may think about us, inappropriate, heretical, irreverent, we don't think so. And you're about to hear why. So let's go.
So, as part of this, we don't just have to we don't just get to sing songs and play music, which is awesome. But also, Heather asked us to talk about why is punk rock important to us as UUs and our spirituality. And did a lot of thinking about that. Like, what is it about all this music? And how does it tie into resistance? And me personally. And so as I'm sitting there thinking about this and thinking about how I'm going to write this, and then I ended up not writing anything because I didn't have time, even though I have a lot of time right now, I realized growing up, I always was exposed to music, and music's always been a thing for me, and music and spirituality have always been connected, always, since I was a small child raised in a Lutheran church that was not accepting. We'll just put it that way. I could not say, hi, I'm a non-binary individual who doesn't like pronouns he, him, and, gender makes me uncomfortable. In the company of the people that I grew up with in the youth group that I did. And they also didn't listen to, secular music at all. The stuff that we're playing up here wouldn't fly. Probably didn't listen to anything other than Christian music until I went to high school. And then I was exposed to this punk music. This was early 2000s, so also exposed to a bunch of other stuff like ska and goth music, and I really got into it. partially because my parents didn't like it, right? And it spoke to me because I felt like I didn't fit, right? And they were saying how they didn't fit. And I really was like, oh, wow. And then as I listened to the lyrics of a lot of the songs, I was like, oh, they're also talking about things that are injustices in the world, and they're fighting back against groups that are, well, hateful. And I dug into the history of punk, and, you know, some venues, they'd have Nazis show up. Like, you know, not Hitler Nazis, but like neo-Nazis with the shaved heads and the, you know, jack boots and trying to be all like, you know, angry, mean, and toxic masculinity, and I want to beat you up and all that stuff. And the punks were like, no, we're not going to have this stuff. They're very anti-Nazi, very anti-hate. And I was like, yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. Nazis aren't good. Fascism isn't good. And especially where we are right now today with some of the things that are happening, I felt like the song that I kind of picked we're going to sing now, it's by Anti-Flag. They're very, like, progressive in a lot of areas and feel like, you know, it's important to speak out against a lot of different things. So before we sing the song, I want to drink some water. There's a lot of words in this song. And my mouth is real dry. So thank you. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Give me a second. He counts off and then it goes. That's why I was like, hang on.
It's because Justin's the best.
He gets us moving.
All right.
I appreciate that.
You ready?
Incredibly, and we love that about you.
Okay, I'm ready now.
I'm ready.
Everybody else ready?
We're gonna do the thing.
Okay.
You guys ready? We're gonna do a thing now.
All right.
Okay. It's in the things that you say and you don't say. You don't know it cause you're such a fucking cliche. The way you define them and us, those you fear and those you trust. You know a black guy and he's very articulate. You know a Mexican and she's honest and diligent. You don't see color, but that's the discipline. A thug in the thug, some people need a little less education. One dead giveaway. Qualifications. One dead giveaway. Never endorsed the Jim Crow days, but the malice in your voice is a goddamn giveaway. Just cause you don't know you're racist, making it with a checklist. Just cause you don't know you're racist, you don't get a pass when you're talking your shit. Just cause you don't know you're racist, making it with a checklist. Just cause you don't know you're racist, you don't get a pass for your ignorance. Black lives matter and you don't know why, and reverse racism isn't a real thing. Never went alive in the time of slavery, but that's no excuse to ignore its legacy. Afraid of refugees, but you don't want a mosque built on your street. Offended by the claim of bigotry, more than racism in your face. Your justification, one dead giveaway. Qualifications, one dead giveaway. Never endorsed the Bull Connor days, but the malice in your voice is a goddamn giveaway. Just cause you don't know you're racist, and begin with a checklist. Just cause you don't know you're racist, you don't get a pass when you're talking your shit. Just cause you don't know you're racist, and begin with a checklist. Just cause you don't know you're racist, you don't get a pass for your ignorance. You fly the flag of the Confederacy. You say to celebrate your history. The South was fighting to save slavery, to preserve and protect white Just 'cause you don't know you're racist. A bigot with a checklist. Just 'cause you don't know you're racist. Get a pass for your ignorance.
Woo. I like a wide variety of music. I really do. But I was an angsty teenager. I rebelled more than the average teen in the late 80s and early 90s. The sound of punk rock music, loud, fast, aggressive, in your face, it really drew me in. Started to stir that rebellious spirit in me and set me on this path of resistance. If my mother is watching, she is. Hi, Mom. She might start having flashbacks. I'm sorry, Mom. I really mean that. I couldn't really articulate what I was rebelling against at the time. Authority, mostly my parents, anything anyone told me to do, especially my mother. As a teenage girl with undiagnosed ADHD, that probably isn't so surprising now that I reflect back on it, but I think there's more to it than that. When I was in 5th grade, I wanted to be a minister. I went to a congregational church. It was a good place, they're pretty liberal, and the youth minister was super cool, but the theology just wasn't grabbing me. I couldn't make sense of it. My young, wild spirit seemed to know that there was just so much more out there than the simple and nonsensical religious explanations I was hearing about life. So I privately declared myself an atheist in high school. But when I eventually went to college and studied anthropology and came home with a fresh excitement and zest about human evolution because it answered that big religious question of where did we come from, suddenly I was a heretic. Evolution? Oof. It's okay, Ma, you come a long way. So here's where the lyrics really took me deeper into meaning and substance, especially those from a band called Bad Religion. That's the t-shirt. The lead singer for Bad Religion, Greg Graffin, has his PhD in zoology and is an evolutionary biologist. Oh, my newly awakened atheist soul, nourishment at last. Graffin received the Rushdie Award for Cultural Humanism from the Harvard Humanist Chaplaincy in 2008, y'all. And although Graffin is not religious, he prefers to identify as a naturalist rather than as an atheist. He stated, naturalism is a belief system. A lot of science bristle at that. We all have to believe we can find the truth. Evidence is my guide. So unlike Graffin, I do consider myself religious, a religious naturalist, a Unitarian Universalist. It's a thing. And there's even a religious naturalist of Unitarian Universalism Facebook page if you want to join. I find an immense amount of awe, wonder, beauty in the natural world. I believe that evolution is a miraculous creative force and that we are beyond blessed to be a part of the beauty of the earth. And yet, most of us humans don't even have a grasp on this very essence of our beingness. We totally take for granted the fact that we can think about the fact that we think and are human and can figure out with hard evidence almost exactly how it is that we came to being on this planet. And it just boggles my mind that other humans aren't also filled with awe and wonder about the actual reality of our beingness and that they lack reverence for other humans, for our diversity and our imaginations that can take us beyond a culture of oppression and beyond a culture of violence that destroys the earth. That sort of irreverence is maddening, don't you think? And so that's why this next song speaks to me and has been playing in my head over and over for the past 33 years for the sake of my gentle but wild, angry soul. Today, we will offer you an a cappella version of it.
hydration is important. Drink your water.
Been a long time since I sang this much. I've got nothing to say. I've got nothing to do. Say, I've got nothing to do. All of my neurons are functioning smoothly, yet still I'm a cyborg just like you. I have one big myoma that thinks my planet supports only me. I've got this one problem, will I live forever? I've got just a short time to see. Modern man, evolutionary betrayer. Modern man, ecosystem destroyer. Modern man, destroy yourself in shame. Modern man, pathetic example of Earth's organic heritage. When I look back and think, when I ponder and ask why, I see my ancestors spend with careless abandon, assuming eternal supply. Modern man, evolutionary betrayer. Modern man, ecosystem destroyer. Modern man, destroy self and shame. Modern man, pathetic example of Earth's organic heritage. Just example of carbon-based wastage. Just a fucking tragic epic of you and I. No one said you had to sing perfect or even good in punk rock. Okay. I would love to invite our friend Mark the Machine Gatsky. I mean, I wonder how come Mark joined us.
That was actually a question that bounced around in my head for a while. I said yes, and then I thought about it. So the yes locked me in. And tell you the truth, punk rock for me kind of came and went. My discovery years started in late 60s and 70s. And I think about a song by Buffalo Springfield called For What It's Worth. And the line was, think it's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. And there are the seeds of what became punk rock, but it comes in many flavors. It goes back as far as when recorded music became available. It was the internet. It was how the big ideas and the words got out to everybody. And in the wake of the Vietnam War, the government recognized that as a problem. Music was dangerous. It made people think, it made people act. And punk rock, in the wake of the censorship that came after that, decided, oh, you don't like the message? Well, we'll just say it louder. And at first blush, it sounds like they just want to tell you what's wrong. But underneath that, there has to be hope. Otherwise, there's no point. So after you hear all the bad news, the good news is we can make it better if we want to. And this is part of that consciousness raising. That is why I am here.
Hey, Morgan, didn't I see you at the Bikini Kill concert? Yeah, I went with Francesca, and hey, there was Morgan. Hey, Fran. Well, so this is a Bikini Kill song called Rebel Girl.
That girl thinks she's the queen of the neighborhood. She's got the hottest strike in town. That girl, she holds her head up so high. I think I wanna be her best friend, yeah. Rebel girl, rebel girl, rebel girl, you are the queen of my world. Rebel girl, I think I wanna take you home. I wanna try on your clothes, When she revolution's coming in her hips. That's revolution. When she talks, I hear the revolution in her kiss. I take the revolution. Rebel girl, rebel girl, rebel girl, you are the queen of my world. Rebel girl, rebel girl, I know I wanna take you home. I wanna try on your
That's a fun one. Jason, you're up. Woo.
Forgive me, I'm a little sweaty from drumming. Punk for me. I grew up in a very, well, for a lot of people, very conservative Christian home. My dad was a deacon, still is. My mom was the piano player for the church, and they both, while were very encouraging for music, it was music that had to be Christian. Aside from classic rock, because my dad had his little vices, which was a little bit of Black Sabbath, some Styx, some Grand Funk Railroad, which I will always be a big fan of, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Caveats. But a lot of the, like my exposure to punk was, even within a Christian background, there was a band called Dogwood. They were a skate punk band based in California, and it was at a time when some Christian labels were like, you sound cool, we're not gonna really pay attention to the lyrics, but hey, like, don't curse, right? But one of their songs that I listened to when I was in high school really resonated with me. It was called There's Room for Everyone. And there's a verse that says, all of the hate and phobias are stemming from gifts that you didn't earn and don't deserve. Like little children defining the outcasts, you make sure they never return. And how would you learn? And sorry, my memory is failing me. That shouldn't happen. I'm not 40 yet. Sorry. Yeah. But it says, don't think so fast. They never ask. And you stay inside and they stay away. But we've only ourselves to blame for the mass production of shame. So let's right the wrongs, because everyone belongs. And from the punk movement, was more of the main music I listened to, which is a lot of hardcore metal, black metal, death metal, add something metal or core to it. And there was a band called Sleeping Giant that I really loved. And I identify as a Christian Universalist. Kind of the other half of Unitarian Universalism, the two branches that came together. And one of the verses for their song called No Love is true love personified, holy God crucified, but hatred makes him nothing more than homophobic holy war. Because flags and racists stage the shows, it's all fraud, no one knows. Because there's faint desire, but look above, the truth of God is found in love. And that's something that's kind of helped me realize as I move from the faith I grew up in to what I'm more confident in now. Thank you.
Okay, so it's the part where I talk, right? Okay. So we were all asked like what songs we thought would be prudent to feature, and the song I picked to share with y'all is really important to me for a million reasons, but two of the biggest ones are this is a band that I have loved since I was 16 years old, living on my own, taking care of myself, couch hopping, sleeping in garages, doing nothing but day drinking and going to punk rock shows, not slipping through the cracks, being actively pushed through the cracks, which is how a lot of people find themselves in the loving embrace of punk rock. And over the course of this band's career, their lead singer came out as a trans woman and transitioned before our very eyes and provided us a glorious album called Transgender Euphoria Blues, which is actually the name of the song that we are going to sing for you in a second. And I have never had gender euphoria, like realizing the singer of my favorite band was a woman too. So I wanted to share this song with you because it is a desperate plea to see someone's inherent worth and dignity, something we are all called to by our faith. Yeah.
Not to catch us sick. Drunk surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. Rough surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. Rough surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. With you, with you. You've got no cunt in your strut. You've got no hands to shake. And you know it's obvious, but we can't choose how we're made. You want them to notice the ragged ends of your summer dress, and you want them to see you like they see every other girl. They just see a faggot. They hold their breath not to catch the sick. A rough surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. Rough surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. A rough surf on the coast, I wish I could have spent the whole day alone. With you, with you, with you.
It takes a lot to get up here and to be bold and seemingly irreverent and vulnerable. Let us wrap our joys and sorrows around what we heard today. Think about what you heard that you could relate to. Think about what you couldn't relate to. How did it open your mind up to the different lived realities and perspectives of other people? Resistance can sometimes grow out of our struggles and our sorrows. But there is so much joy in the different ways we resist together. Let's not walk away from each other. Let's co-create from our differences and the many kinds of fire that burn inside of us. So we will invite you up for our joys and sorrows. I'm going to play with fire. And ask you to light a candle in honor of whatever joy or whatever sorrow you carry with you today. And Petra can assist. Sarah's got it. Tatiana, Maggie McClelland, that's my mom, Nancy and Tom Morse. Thank you for joining us on Zoom. Did y'all have fun? Come on, did y'all have fun? So as we come to the end of this very fun punk rock worship service, remember, the fire of resistance will keep love alive. Stop! In the name of love. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Please join us in singing Blitzkrieg
Hey,
Bop.
ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. They're forming in a straight line. They're going through a tight line. The kids are losing their minds. The Blitzkrieg Bop. They're filing in the backseat. They're generating steam heat. Pulsating through the backbeat. The Blitzkrieg Bop. Hey, ho, let's go. Shoot them in the back now. What they want, I don't know. They're all wrapped up and ready to go. They're forming in a straight line. They're going through a tight line. The kids are losing their mind. The Blitzkrieg Bop. They're filing in the backseat. They're generating steam heat. Pulsating in the backbeat. The Blitzkrieg Bop. Hey, ho, let's go. Shoot them in the back now. What they want, I don't know. They're all wrapped up and ready to go. They're forming in a straight line. They're going through a tight line. The kids are losing their minds. The Blitzkrieg Bop. They're filing in the backseat. They're generating steam heat. They're making the backbeat. The Blitzkrieg Bop. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Hey, ho, let's go. Woo! Go out into the world now. Keep that fire of resistance burning that you are wearing.
jump on drums sometimes. I would love to like have both guitars going too.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to do that. And like the jam session is just kind of like free form, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
I've got my bass. I'm not as good as Mark, but you can go doom 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 to doom doom to doom doom.
Yeah.
And he can play guitar too, and or whatever. And I have a trumpet that I bought that's plastic that I can play kind of.
Okay.
Some weird ska stuff. My trombone amateur is okay, and that's what I used to play.
Yeah. I can do a little bit of trumpet. I played French horn in middle school, and so the amateur for that is closer to trumpet for me than it is like anything with a larger piece.
Yeah. So. Yes, that was good. It was fun. I loved it. Yeah. Mark, good job. Thank you.
Jason, so if we want to do some somewhat regular Sunday jam sessions, do you mind if I hang on to this for a little bit? Play around with it? I know, I just want to confirm today. Okay, thank you.
The musician equipment thing. Are you sure if I'm okay to hold on to this? Yes, I said you can hold on to it. It's okay. Are you sure? Yes, I'm okay. That's just how it goes. It, yeah.
I enjoy playing guitar. Drums usually just it's just easier to kind of
Yeah, especially if you're doing the same stuff. Yeah. Oh, the board is not muted because I'm not back there. I haven't done anything. Let me go. Thanks.